well, geez, now the salary cap's up 25%. So I want a 25% boost to what happened last year. So I think
Mm.
if I had to oversimplify it, I'd say if I was the agent back then, I'd be looking at, what's the revenues of the league, and the salary cap is kind of a good indication of that. So if it jumped, I'd be asking for more than 100 million. But if it stayed the same or barely moved, 100 million might be a little much. But again, also what's publicly being asked for and the way it's being asked are very different, right? You can say it's 100 million or
Mm.
nothing, and I'm not negotiating until you write that check. Or you could say,
Yeah.
look, 85 million, I want 100 million, and those are very different things.
Man, yeah. So yeah, man. Thanks for your insight on all that. I couldn't get off. That was fun. Andreas, man. Let me ask you. So you also teach sports negotiation courses at John Hopkins University. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I love it. I started, I think I just finished my 10th year. So I run a class in intercession, and I enjoy it. I love being on campus. So I was sad. We teach a lot in person or online, more in person, but we do both. But I got to admit, when we
Mm-hmm.
went online for COVID, I didn't get as much out of it because to me, it's the energy of students and the fact that they'll question everything. I enjoy it. I use this kind of as a laboratory for trying new exercises, simulations, and ideas and case studies. So I love that as well. Um, and so for me, it's kind of a way, I enjoyed kind of, my university, whether it's college, and then going to the graduate school along the way. And so we have it in our own backyard here. And so when I was, humbly asked to do it one time, and for whatever reason, they keep asking me to come back. So I keep doing it, but I really enjoy it. To me, it's kind of being on campus, trying new things. And I think that, it's a lot of, if you do, I will say this, and I think this, I've got two young kids too. So these remind me, but I think teaching a class at any level. And like I said, my two young kids, when I interact with their teachers and then teaching at the college level, I think everyone should do that once. It's like same as service industry. I've worked in the service industry, as kind of was coming up in high school, because I think the empathy you have and your appreciation for these roles goes up dramatically. To be a really good teacher at any level takes an
Mm-hmm.
immense amount of effort. And I mean, it's, because you could be a teacher and just kind of run the same program every year and not care at all, but to really care about your students, grade them, and give them real feedback, individualized, adjust and update every year your information, and really put it is
Mm-hmm.
an unbelievable amount of work. So I'm just very appreciative, I think, of whether it's at the high school level, grade school level, university level, people that do that and really put their heart in it because it is a hard work.
Mm. Man, you wear a lot of hats, man. Because like you say, to do all that, to be a teacher, so that's one thing in itself. And to do the other things that you're doing, man, I think that's pretty cool. And then, like you say, you got kids yourself, so I gotta, do the father thing, the husband thing, and this and that. So, hey, so let me ask you this question. I only got a couple more questions for you, Andreas, man. I was speaking to a salesman recently, and he said that anything can be negotiated. Now, in your opinion, is that true? Can anything be negotiated?
I think conceptually, I think there's nothing wrong with it. And I like the concept that I think really should open people's eyes. There's some things that you don't think can be negotiated, but can. So that's the short. The longer is, I would say it's not so much can it be negotiated, but does it make sense? So here's the
Mm-hmm.
example I'd give you. So you go to the convenience store, you buy a pack of gum, and the pack of gum is $1.50. I mean, so the cashier has no skin in the game. They don't care if they sell that pack of gum or not. They're getting paid hourly. They got no skin in the game. They don't care, and it's $1.50 total. So not to minimize that $1.50 is real money, but if you get 10% off, that's 15 cents. Probably not going to change your life. And it'd be very difficult. You're going to have some people behind you probably mad that you're holding up the whole line to say 15
Yeah.
cents. And you're very unlikely to negotiate a better deal. So that's probably where it doesn't make sense, right? But
Uh,
then all of a sudden you start to think about, what I do like is it inspires people to negotiate their salaries, or I do inspire people to negotiate when they're buying a house or leasing a place or they're buying a car or in some places that you may not think, right? And so, I'll give you another example. So we've had, I mean, some good luck because we're healthy. We've had some bad luck with, some like we had some years ago. We lived in a row home in Baltimore, and a neighbor's house, burnt down and basically destroyed ours with fire and with smoke. And we had to rebuild our house. That's another example that a lot of people get private adjusters because they just don't have to deal with the issue. But you got to negotiate for everything there. Even the good
mm-hmm.
insurance companies, they're trying to save every penny. So that's an
Yeah.
example that if you told the average person, they wouldn't be thinking about, you got to be negotiating with the contractors, with the insurance company all the time. And if you don't, the person that doesn't is going to get 10, 20, 30% less. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's an example. I think that, to inspire folks that, you got to think about whether it makes sense, right? If the dollar's big enough that it makes sense, is this something that is the other person willing to engage, right? If they're a cashier, they don't care. They got no skin in the game. The dollars are too small. But I think that's what I like about that. Everything's negotiable. Someone said that to one of our facilitators, and that's same thing. And
Yeah.
and that's what I would say to folks is that keep in mind, like there's if the dollars are big enough, you should at least think about it. Is this something I should be negotiating? And negotiating doesn't always mean more dollars. I can't
Hmm.
tell people enough. Like negotiating salary, they want more salary. What about paid time off? What about 401k matching? What about your title? What about how many days you're in the office? What about your car allowance? I mean, all these things. So I think that's the thing that I like about that statement.
Mm. Okay, real quick, Andrea. Negotiating no trade clauses because a lot of people don't have that in their contracts, but a few that had a no trade clauses in there. How important is that? You know what I'm saying, as far as the negotiation side of it, to have for an athlete to have that in a contract.
I think the short answer on that is if you're giving your hometown or the team that you want to play for a sweetheart deal, you should get it. Period. Almost regardless
Hmm.
of what your level is. Right. If I'm
Hmm.
representing a player, whether the $30 million guy taking 22 to leave cap space for a better player, or a $7 million guy taking the minimum wage because they want to win a championship, I'd want no trade clause because you're getting a better deal
Hmm.
because I want to be there and I don't want you to be able to move me. But I would say otherwise, I mean, as a team, I wouldn't do it. Right? I disagree with it because the
Hmm.
reality is, players both ways are assets. And again, if you think more in the NBA than anywhere else, where one player can make a difference, they'll go wherever they want. They'll sit whenever they want. So there's a lot of power in being the player, and I get that. I mean, their services are particularly unique and special.